much deeper into the woods than covering something like the lost city of Atlantis. Usually we talk about ghosts and goblins. Not really. We did talk about the Kelly Hopkinsville goblins. That's goblins. We talk about ghosts a lot. We talk about Bigfoot and UFOs, and we've done possession or exorcisms with the real exorcist. But we have not really talked too much about a place. And there's no place that, well, there's maybe one place that has a more relation to a cryptic place than this one, but we will eventually get to that sucker. But for right now, we're just gonna work with what we have, and we're gonna talk about the lost city of Atlantis for the first time ever. The other place, of course, is going to be the Bermuda Triangle, which is also linked to the lost city of Atlantis. So you could call it a correlation there, but today we're going to focus on Atlantis itself, because I fell down a rabbit hole. I was looking for stuff to cover on Atlantis, actually, because I wanted to cover it because I think the topic is interesting. But I was having a hard time finding a video that's short enough, because when we do these CrypticCorner sessions, there's two ways I go about it. I'll either do one video that's, you know, less than 20 minutes, or I can do a two-parter for anything over that. But everything was over that, and I didn't want to do a two-parter on Atlantis, at least not yet. If I do a two-parter on Atlantis, I will probably do it for the Paranormal Scholar, because she has a good video about that, and making lots of a lot of claims about what geologists and scientists in the academic community is up to. She has a lot of conspiratorial ideas. I don't know if any of you all watched the Paranormal Scholar. She's I think she's Scottish. I don't know for sure if she's Scottish. I think she's Scottish because she does the ad for the Scottish land where you can become a lord or lady on her channel. So I think she's Scottish. I feel terrible about not being able to identify her accent, but be like a racist person saying they don't see color. I don't hear accents, but she's from somewhere in the UK. Anyway, and she does videos on paranormal stuff, and she's usually just a narrator. I don't think she's ever presenting her own opinions for the most part. As I say, I don't think she's ever. No, she does present her own opinions, at least in her Atlantis video, which I watched last weekend while I was mowing, or listened to, I should say. And I would like to tackle that sometime in a two-parter, but we're gonna deal with somebody completely different today. We are going to be talking about Dr. Luigi Usai, I think is how you say that last name. And correct me if I'm wrong. It should be. I think it's Usai, because that's Sai like the ninjutsu weapon or whatever, the Ninja Turtle weapon, a Sai. So Dr. Luigi Usai. I don't know. I did try to look this gentleman up and learn a little bit about him. He does admit he's an amateur. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, let's look at what he has to say. Atlantis is in the Sardo Corso Grabenhorst underwater continental block, submerged by the meltwater pulses and destroyed by a subduction zone. Capital is Solstice. Then just keep in mind too that to bring this gentleman to you, I am translating from Italian. Most of the websites that information from this guy is on is in Italian. His book that he wrote is in Italian, so I'm translating it. But he has been popping up on the radar in the unexplained mysteries communities with his claims about Atlantis, and of course specifically in the Atlantis communities and sub-communities within that community. He's been making waves. He does actually interact with the community though, and we will see that in a moment. But let's move on and see what the gentleman has to say. He's there's, and just to be completely clear, this guy admits that he's built his theory on where Atlantis is, what Atlantis is, and what happened to Atlantis, all on 20 days of extensive research. 20 days of extensive research. 20 days, not years, not months. No, no, 20 days. Less than a month of research. So we are, I spend about that much time, generally speaking, on each and every topic on CrypticCorner. Obviously, I've spent years of my life researching these topics. Spent years of my life. I've been reading every book I could get my paws on cryptic stuff since 1988. When I was about, I was about 6. No, 88. I was, since about 1988, 89, when my parents started letting me read that kind of stuff, or I started wanting to read that kind of stuff. So I've been doing this for a long time, but each and every topic I spend at least 20 days. I know I decide these week to week, but I start like poking around at a topic well before that. There's I got like a hurry up and wait job, so I got like downtime between crises sometimes where I can listen to a little bit of this or that about a topic, pull papers or whatever I need to do. But 20 days of research, I can tell you from my personal position that it's hard. That's enough to research one video or one or one topic, maybe one report, thoroughly enough to feel like you're presenting a educated case on the matter. However, something as complex and overarching as Atlantis is, because when it comes to Atlantis, you got links to Hellenistic culture. You have the origins of Hellenistic culture, the origins of Egyptian culture, Mayan culture. You got links to things, like the Bermuda Triangle, what they call the people of the sun, the North America, the mound builders. What were they? What's the proper name that we use for them now? I can't remember. The people of the sun in North America that built the mound pyramids and stuff. Got connections to them. They've got connections to, of course, the Canary Islands and the Azores, Bermuda. They've got connections to St. Helena Island, anything on the mid-Atlantic ridge, all the way down to Antarctica and up into Greenland and Iceland area. This whole area has links to Atlantean folklore and mythology. You have to take into consideration, and then of course all of the Mediterranean, Europe, and so many cultures that are associated with this group and claim to have been part of it, and so many lands and islands and countries have claimed that their land is actually what was once Atlantis, or part of what was Atlantis. And this is going to be no different here, what we're looking at. Lots of evidence of the existence of Atlantis. Capital Solstice, as what I'm going to say. Well, this is Greek, so would that be Sulcus? Atlantis is the Sardo Corso submerged block. Is he just going to claim it, or that's the second time he's... Maybe I'm just going through this wrong, but Atlantis is the Sardinian, Corsican, graben horse submerged by meltwater pulses and destroyed by the Mediterranean subduction zone, which passes exactly under the Solstice Atlantidine capital. Under the seabed, the same that made the Vesuvius volcanic, I think it's supposed to be volcanic eruption, or volcano erupt, destroyed both Pompeii and Herculaneum. Right. So we are in the Mediterranean with this fella. He has not left, with his theory, he has not left behind the Pillars of Hercules, which, if anybody's familiar with Atlantis lore, if anybody's familiar with the origin story of the very first mentions of Atlantis and where this mythology comes from. This being on the eastern side of the Pillars of Hercules is a bit of a problem. I mean, you could almost dismiss this theory that what he's describing here is Atlantis. Not saying it couldn't be something, but that it being Atlantis, not beyond the Pillars of Hercules. All right. Ian Davenport, D Parks. Good morning. Good morning. We are going to Atlantis, so I hope you brought your scuba gear. Yeah, I agree, Ring, about the Minoan civilization. I think it was that was an inspiration for. I think that maybe Pompeii as well, Herculaneum, anything that was destroyed by the gods, which would be natural forces throughout history, could have contributed to the story behind this. Under the Mediterranean Sea, there's a very dangerous subduction zone where Africa goes under Europe. I didn't think that Africa would be a bottom, but that's fine. The subduction zone goes from Gibraltar to the solstice to Naples in Italy, and it's the same which caused the eruption of Vesuvius, which destroyed both I think it's supposed to be Herculaneum again. I'm not sure about what's going on with the typos here. I'm not going to blame the author, because I think this is the translator running this through too. But in Pompeii, so if things get weird, I'm not gonna come down on our friend here who is making this blog. I'm going to blame the translator and blame my own Bree brain. All right, until now, geologists didn't have a good reason to study the subduction zone under Sardinia. But I think now they have, because it was probably a tectonic seismic event which caused the destruction of the outer rings of Atlantis capital. All right, so I don't think there's ever been a situation where we'd say a scientist does not have a reason to study a subduction zone. Now, especially a subduction zone that is nested right underneath the population, or very close to the population centers of much of Western Europe. Adjacent, I mean, an earthquake in that subduction zone can cause terrible damage all across Southern Europe, all across these resort locations and things like that. People that are cities that make their money doing tourism and stuff. They make a lot of money doing tourism. They could wreck those economies with a nice heavy earthquake. Africa is also splitting in two. Yep, the African Rift Valley. That is Africa splitting right in two. Another fun fact about Africa, Madagascar there off of the east coast of Africa, not part of the African continent at all. Like the piece of land was never attached to Africa. It's never been part of the African plate. It was actually long time ago attached to India. And I guess the rest of Gondwanaland by extension. Just a little tidbit of knowledge about that. There is also a Pacific version of Atlantis called Mu. Mu is similar in its history and structure, but then again, there's also Rahili, which is from the Cthulhu mythos, which is either in the Pacific or Indian Ocean, which is also very similar in its depiction and fiction to Atlantis. Not necessarily in its depiction in real life, though. Or not real life, but in the books compared to what Atlantis was supposed to be like. Because Atlantis is not some underwater oasis where there's a magical kingdom or whatever like you see in the Disney cartoons. It was supposed to be a lost civilization that was destroyed and everybody died. All right. We are going to watch. Y'all want to watch this? I don't think it's too long. I don't think there's any sound to it either. Okay, we're zooming out from, I believe, Sardinia. Oh, hold on, let me switch. I've got a full screen thing here too. We'll rewatch it. All right, there we are. Now we're going to rewatch this. Okay, so pulling right out here. All right, let's pause some of these. Oh, stupid pop-up thing. I guess I can close it. Okay, so this is the Mediterranean. Guys, here's like Sicily, Africa. You got Tunisia, Algeria. This is in Portuguese, but I think we can pretty much get an idea what we're dealing with here. And here is Sardinia. Now, when we think of Sardinia, you might probably think of beaches and tourist kind of like Mediterranean cruise is probably the main thing I think of when I think of Sardinia. But they're talking about the subduction zone running under here. Pompeii is up in here, which, yeah, it's kind of weird that they said this isn't a subduction zone that's studied much, because Pompeii is on the subduction zone. But I digress. There's a subduction zone under Atlantis, Tarsus, Teddy, the same which caused the destruction of, yeah, that's the same thing it said there. Like he's going on and on about that, the subduction zone, which I agree it's there. Subduction zone across the Mediterranean, yep, sure. Boom, okay. You're not making a believer out of me, Luigi. I don't understand what this is. Is that the whole of your argument? Is that there's a subduction zone under the Mediterranean? Yeah, it doesn't have any sound. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm just giving you a better idea where the location he's talking about is, though. So you saw the Italian peninsula there in mainland Europe. Now we're going back overhead. The title of this video is Atlantis has finally been found. I don't think he's found anything. What's he found? Just that there's a subduction zone. Nothing less and nothing more. So. All right. Moving on. San Antoko, I guess. And Carlo Fort are not just simple islands, but they are what remains of the outer Atlantis capital ring. The capital rings. I don't know if you've ever seen a map of Atlantis. Maybe we have one I can pull up, but maybe there's one down below. Capital rings. This is simply amazing. Plato says the Atlantis was ancient for the ancients. It was all real. We just couldn't see anything. The word solstice in Latin language, location ablative, derived from sulcus, sulci or sulco, which in Latin language means the furrow. The concentric furrows delimit the Atlantis capital, which is today named as Solstice in Sardinia, or Sulcus in Sardinia. So we're going by argument by etymology about the origin of the word, but do you think that that's why they named it that? Because the subduction zone? I don't know. All right. And we have true evidence. This is true evidence, Hive, so keep that in mind, of the sinking of Atlantis. In fact, the Tritalis, they continue to find unknown submerged finds, among which the, Nerga Butupa recently emerged from the Monte Prenu Reservoir. The Rio Palmas is what remains of the river that led to the city center. The Egyptians have engraved on at least one stele that the civilization of Atlantis was ancient for the ancients. We have confirmed this too. In fact, a fossil fragment of Arthropleura armata, the prehistoric giant millipede, was recently found in Rio Palmas. And this confirms why Plato said it was ancient for the ancients. Probably they had already found many fossils, which at the moment we still don't know what use the Sulcus Inglesitini used, if they showed them as a trophy to visitors or if they destroyed them. So a couple of things I want to say here. First, I've changed the way that I'm pronouncing this Sulcus because after reading the root words that they're saying, that the author here is saying, I'm going to go with a hard C on that because it looks like that's what the rest of the words we're using. And as far as Arthropleura armata, ancient for the ancients indeed, but almost half a billion years, too early for people, my friend. Half a billion years is a long time ago, and these land masses were not, especially the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean was not really a thing in the Paleozoic. The area that would become the Mediterranean was, but the landmass that constitutes most of Europe now was home to Arthropleura. It was also, I believe, it was stretched north to south from the equator to the North Pole, and it was heavy with what we call now coal forest, which left behind coal for mankind to use in their industrial revolution. But among the remains was also a great number of giant arthropods, including the giant millipede Arthropleura. Now, this, again, was half a billion years before humans even evolved. So to say that Atlantis was around when Arthropleura was crawling around, it's a weird hill to die on. All right, moving on. I think that's about it for our guy here. We're going to look at some more of the pictures. This is basically the same stuff that he showed in his little video there, though, but we have some artifacts that I wanted to see. Sumerian history. Atlantis would be the Sardinian Corsican block submerged by the succession of the various meltwater pulses, the melting of ice after last glaciation, called Worm. The capital would have its center on a hill near the small town of Santata in the province of Cagliari. Starting from the hill next to Santata, it's possible to see the perfectly circular development of all the town's plantings. I'll X'd out on that. Do I have X'd out still? I think I saved that. I did! Woo! I love that I still have that. I've lost so much. Having just that little piece of art that I made survive is great. Alright. There are also many toponymic references to the myth of Atlantis, including the two hot and cold water sources placed by Poseidon. The cold water source of Zynegas, which still remains today, also in the name of Castillo di Acquafredda di Sequila, the Coldwater Castle. And that was an attempt, so bear with me. And the hot water source present in the toponymy and 3 neighbors next to the small town of Nuxus, with a lowercase n. Does the town not start with a capital letter? That's proper noun, I would say. Still called Aquacata, hot water. I'm not going to read the translation on that one because I didn't like the way the first one sounded. But upper hot water and down hot water, which are small villages next to Sentada. Is this an ad, or are we talking about more?
Aperti al pubblico nella grotta di acqua calda a Nuis.
We're not going to be able to translate that. That's all right. We'll move right along. Sorry. Also present in the toponymy, adjacent to the small village of Sentada, or Sentadi, is the name Sais, the name of an urban fraction called Lower Sais and another called Upper Sais. Sais is, in fact, the same name of the Egyptian city where the priest Sanchis taught the famous Greek politician Solon the story of Atlantis, according to Plato's account. Incredible archaeological discoveries have also been made in the caves near Sentadi. In the Benedzu cave, extraordinary finds have been made of the finds still under study. The finds were finds, and they're still under study. Archaeological excavations at the Su-Mondesdedu cave, located in the urban hamlet of Aquacata, have revealed human settlements very remote over time. The necropolis of Montisu, near Sentadi, has Egyptian and Atlantean symbols. The Atlantean concentric circles are the symbol of the capital of Atlantis, built according to concentric circles. Concentric circles are built according to concentric circles. That was the sentence I just read, with a little bit more filler in there. Weird. But that's also, like saying the finds, like that. Extraordinary finds have been made of finds still under study. Oh my gosh. How did somebody write that out and not say this? I can say again, blaming the translator, but what does that translate to then? What did it mistranslate? All right. The circles are carved into the rock, visible and famous on the wall of the necropolis. There are also sculpted drawings of the ships in use at the time by the Egyptians. It would be further proof of the connection between the necropolis of Montesu and Sentadi and ancient Egypt. Furthermore, the trident of Poseidon, who, according to legend, founded the capital of Atlantis, were found carved in the rock in the village of Lacani. The trident carved in the rock are still visible at the Menhir Museum in Laconi in the province of Calgary. All right, so we have a lot of inferences here about the hot and cold springs on this island, which does, to me, that doesn't seem like something that's like too out there, but it is what it is. But yeah. Anyway, this is getting kind of boring to me, so he's just making inferences and drawing correlations. He's not presented any evidence. I would like to see these artifacts he's talking about. Pictures of it, because a concentric circle, which is, all fine and dandy, but it's not culturally specific. Here we go. It's not culturally specific, and he's going to make that correlation that because all these cultures have it, they were all linked to ancient Atlantis, but really drawing circles within circles. I mean, come on now. And they're even presenting, oh, look, circles within circles on their eyes. Your eyes are circles within circles. You have your pupil and your iris and then your sclera. So yeah, you have circles within circles. It's a pretty simple shape and design. And to try to link it, say that all these cultures are linked because of this, is just silly. Anyway, yeah, that was CrypticCorner. I actually did have more laid out, but that took up too much time. Actually, you know what? Let's watch this real quick because this is just something fun. Let me There we go. All right. Alright, so mysterious yellow brick road found at the bottom of the Pacific and dubbed the path to Atlantis. So this is on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, but it's pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of the Bimini Road. It's only about a minute or two, 2.5 minutes long, but we probably won't watch all of it. I'm not going to watch through. I'm not going to turn on the sound because I don't know if the music they're playing is copyrighted or anything, but we're going to look at the images. So they found basically this. It's pyroclastic rock, but the way that it's eroded and kind of cracked looks really cool. And looks like a brick road, like it says here, well-preserved brick road at the bottom of the sea on April 29th. Yeah, but it is cool looking. Kind of it runs through this little, so there's volcanic activity up here in ancient times. So we have pyroclastic flows that laid at the bottom of the sea and slowly broke down to this cool brick looking pattern. Neat stuff. Well, hey, Secular Rarity, good to see ya. But yeah, it's not actually a brick road. The way that this particular formation of rock breaks down kind of reminds me like how the Giant's Causeway in Ireland, things like that, where natural structures look artificial because of their symmetry. Yeah, but I just thought this would be a palate cleanser from Luigi that we just dealt with, and I was not thrilled with his content. I probably will not be revisiting him. It was kind of boring and just a lot of bold assertions. Oh, I did mention something about wanting to show him engaging too. So, hold on, we're gonna do that real quick too. Let's clean that out. Okay. But that's what that road looks like. Okay, so first of all, this is his book. We're going to switch it to English so you all can understand it. Atlantis, yeah, the Pulse Water after the last ice age. Basically the same thing he's talking about on his website. So I don't see any reason to buy the book. Plus, it's out of print. So there's that. But someone made come on this Atlantis Online blog and made a criticism of Luigi's theories. Yeah. And yeah, we made some definite criticisms that I agree with. And one that I picked up on, of course, was being outside the Pillars of Hercules, which is, beyond the Cape of Gibraltar, but Luigi actually showed up and responded to it. So kudos to him for engaging with the criticisms that he's getting. He makes some genetic claims here, which get a little borderline racist. I'm not going to read that conversation. Just claiming that certain people groups have this weird Atlantean DNA. I'm not like. Yeah, like this stuff right here. I'll highlight it, but I'm not going to say it out loud because it's kind of cringy. I know it's weird to say that, but if it was any other culture besides Mediterranean cultures, and I said that they're related to some supernatural or a natural race that some separate race from the rest of humanity, it would be gross. And it's gross this way too, to make that claim. These people have a proud, they call the Gaunches, they have a proud history in their own mythology. Oh, thank you, Cosmic Kyle. You're so sweet. I'll have to check it out after the stream. We need to be wrapping up Cryptic Corner though, because it's been going on. It's gone over a little bit. I mean, that's okay. I got excited about the topic, but I'm trying to keep things trimmed down. Of course, it's just me and Grayson here, so and he's busy on the Xbox, so I have all the time that I want to do the show. But I know I like to keep it. Y'all know I like to keep it under 2 hours if I can help it. But yeah, and they make the same arguments for the Pillars of Hercules and stuff, but the genetic stuff was what I found really weird and kind of interesting. Anyhow, we are going to close out Cryptic Corner with that in mind. I hope that was enjoyable. I hope you, well, I don't think anybody learned anything about Atlantis at all on this, besides that people can draw inferences from just about anything to attempt to make a case that this place is Atlantis, that place is Atlantis. Are they convincing? No. And there's also been some pyramids found off the Azores, allegedly, like in 2014, and nothing ever really came of it. We may visit that in the future. Because, yeah, summer months make me want to think about Atlantis. So we may visit Atlantis, we may visit Mu, we may visit some other lost civilization, the lost city of Z, for instance, in the Amazon. We could visit that. Bermuda Triangle is another one that was mentioned. There's some other triangles out there, lots of triangles. There's, what's the one in the Pacific up by Alaska? I can't remember. There's also one over Lake Michigan. Yeah, so triangles galore, but we have a lot of places that we can visit in Cryptic Corner to keep things fresh and interesting. We don't always have to talk about Bigfoot and aliens. I do like to, or ghost or whatever. We can expand it out a little bit into some other claims of this nature. So stick around if you like Cryptic Corner. If you're watching this on Friday when I have my premiere of Cryptic Corner, thank you so much for tuning in, and we appreciate your patronage, and please remember to be kind and take care.